Hello YouTube, my name is Michael and today I'm going to be unboxing the Ridgid dual bevel sliding miter saw. I picked this up for a project that I have coming up. I wanted to unbox it, put it together, and give a bit of review of the features that this saw has to offer. Let's get this box opened up. Before I do a review of the 10-inch Ridgid miter saw, let me just go over some of the components that you're going to receive with your saw here. So we have two fences that we are going to install onto the saw here. There's a 10-inch carbide tip 40 tooth blade. We have a product hold down clamp that I will show you as well. And then we have a dust collection bag that attaches to the back of the saw. Now, just as I'm sort of referencing the dust collection bag here, the connection on the back of the saw will also fit a standard shop vac. So if you really want to deal with the dust that's coming off the saw, hooking it up to a shop vac is really going to be the answer for you. So let me show how these fences get installed here. Really, it's just a case where it drops down into the slot, and then there's a locking knob that just tightens it up and secures it into place. Now, just wanted to let you know as well that these are adjustable, and you're actually going to need to adjust them out of the way in order to use the bevel function of the saw here. By moving them off to the side, it allows the bevel to cut through the material and not get restricted by the fence. So in terms of how to install the blade into the saw, there's a locking pin here that you want to make sure is pressed in and have your cutter head in the downwards position. That allows you to have access to the arbor here. So by now, if I allow it to come in the upward position, I move the guard out of the way. I insert the blade up into the slot here, or the flange over top of the arbor. I'm going to depress the lever on the underside of the motor, and now I just snug the blade into place there. So I'm going to return the blade key to the back of the handle here. Again, a very convenient feature. Now I'm just going to go over some of the functions here. It is a 10-inch saw. It weighs about 55 pounds, so it is a heavy saw here, so keep that in mind if you're going to be moving it around a fair bit. And it does have a great cutting capacity. It'll cut a 2x12 at 90 degrees and a 2x8 on 45. And you can cut baseboard vertically up to 6 inches tall. So in terms of some of the functions that we have here on the saw, and one of the really interesting things about the Ridgid saw here is that it will actually go to 70 degrees both left and right, which is really unusual for most of the miter saws out there in the marketplace. In order to adjust the blade on the miter saw here, there is a locking mechanism on the handle here. You depress it with your thumb and it allows you now to move the blade into the angle that you want to cut at, and you can go all the way over to 45 with the stop blocks in place here. And again, very convenient in order to quickly get to the cut locations that you want. Now, if you actually want to go to the 70 degree cut, you're going to need to move the base fence out of the way. So there's a locking mechanism on the underside of the saw here. You depress it, you slide it out of the way, and then it will allow the saw to go all the way over to 70 degrees. Now again, make sure that you have the fences out of the swing of the saw arm so that it won't restrict the movement of the blade here. So again, very convenient. If you actually wanted it to move freely, there is a mechanism on the handle here of the blade. You can toggle it into the loose position. It will now allow you to swing the saw blade left and right without having those stop blocks interfering with the movement of the blade. Now, if you wanted to then hit a certain location that was not part of that, there's a lever here that you drop down, and that now locks the blade into place. So overall, really great and functional saw here. And it gives you all of the flexibility and precision that you may need to do repetitive cuts. Now, in terms of the bevel action here, so again, this saw will bevel left and right to about 45 degrees in both directions. There's a locking knob on the back of the saw here. You loosen it off, and that now allows the saw to bevel. So it has, again, preset stops that you can hit by just lifting up the lever. It releases the mechanism and it allows it now to tilt over both to the left and right. So that's in the 45 degrees left position. Again, if I toggle the lever on the underside of the saw, it will release the mechanism here and you can move it over to the stop that you want here. So we're now at 45 degrees to the right. So it's got all of the preset stops that you may want to take advantage of depending on what you're cutting. And there it's back to the 0. So in terms of some of the other features that I really felt were great value when looking at the Ridgid saw here. Again, it is a sliding miter saw. I'm just going to loosen off this knob here to allow the sliding action to take place. So again, it will cut at 90 degrees at 2x12. So again, a lot of flexibility with what this saw can actually handle. Some of the other things that I want to draw your attention to with respect to how this saw functions. So I've already mentioned that there is a locking pin here that will keep the head down. There's another locking pin on the underside of the motor for allowing you to easily change out the blade. And we have here on the side a knob that allows you to control the amount of slide. Now that really comes into effect when we toggle this little lever here, which is a base crown setting. So in this particular case here, you bring it over, you tighten it off, and that now allows the saw to be used in a stationary way for cutting crown molding when you have it up on its end. So again, there's a lot of great little features here. Loosening that off again as well allows the saw to move freely. And on the other side of the saw here, something that I do want to draw your attention to is that, again, there's a little lever here that will move out from the saw here, and it will now, with this pin mechanism that you have right here, it allows you to set the depth of the cut. So if you have a situation where you don't want to go all the way through the material, you would use this little pin and stop block action in order to control the depth of the cut. So overall, a lot of great functions. Something else that I want to draw your attention to is the fact that there is a light that will light up the cutting area of your work, and it will actually cast a shadow so that it will reveal to you what the cut line is for the material that you're going to be striking here. So overall, a lot of great functionality of this saw. When I was taking a look out in the marketplace and making a decision for myself in terms of what would be the best saw for me to purchase, there was a lot of great brands out there on the market that I had the ability to pick from. The saw that you're looking at right here, though, is really about half the price that you're going to pay for a saw with similar features. So again, really great value. And I think it'll allow me to have an opportunity to do lots of different projects with this saw. So I hope you found this review helpful. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. Would really appreciate for you to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, throw those in the comments section down below. And I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Thanks so much.